Okay, today we're going to move into another, I guess, dimension of solving equations, and that's solving them for a specific variable. And before we do that, though, I want to review a couple things, a couple skills that we're going to need today. So this first one I'm going to just kind of pose as a true or false. True or false? 5a plus 2 is equal to 7a. Is that a true statement or a false statement?
False.
That is a false statement. Those two are not equal. 5a plus 2 is just 5a plus 2. They're not like terms. So if you see 5a plus 2, you can't make it 7a. It's just 5a plus 2. The second true or false statement. True or false? 5a times 2 equals 10a. Is that true or false?
True.
This one is true. 5a times 2 is 10a because of the commutative property. 5a times 2 is the same as 2 times 5a. Right? And so that is equal to 10a. All right, so this one is most definitely true. We're going to need those skills today in what we're doing. And let's get right into our problems here. You're going to be asked to do something a little bit different. You're going to be asked to solve an equation for a specific variable, like m. And they're going to give you an equation like 4m minus 3n equals 8. Now what you're going to notice is there's an extra variable. See it? There's an extra variable. This thing right here. And we probably don't like that. It makes us feel a little bit uncomfortable. But what I'm going to ask you to do is to set up a, you could call it a hack, set up a planning problem, something so that your brain can understand what's going on. Let's come over here and let's pretend, or you could think of this as your hack problem. Instead of this n, let's just pretend that the n wasn't there. If I add 4m minus 3 equals 8, you know, or maybe you put a 1 in for n or something. Okay, replace the thing that's bugging us with a number. Isn't 3 times 1 equal to 3? 3 times 1 is equal to 3. So if you just put maybe a 1 in for m, we have 4m minus 3 equals 8. This is our kind of pretend problem. How would I solve the pretend problem? Wouldn't I add 3? Because I'm solving it for m. So guess what? On my real problem, I'm going to do something similar. Only instead of adding 3, I'm going to add 3n. See, this problem over here tells me what to do in this problem. By setting up a pretend problem, our brains can get things wrapped up so we can see what to do. So on this problem that we're working on over here, the 3m's go away. And I now have 4m equals, here's that skill I talked about, 8 plus 3m, which is just 8 plus 3m. It's not 11m. We already covered that today. So on my pretend problem now, I have 4m equals 11. What would I do to finish solving my pretend problem or my planning problem? Would I divide both sides by 4? Yeah. So guess what we're going to do on our real problem? We're going to divide both sides by 4. Same thing. Divide both sides by 4. My 4's cancel, and guess what? We're done. And my answer is uglier. You have to know that your answer is going to be uglier on these problems because there's going to be a variable in it. Because of this crazy little n that's in there, the answer is uglier. I cannot add 8 and 3m. So my answer just has to be uglier. Okay, this right here is my answer. All right, let's do another one. Setting up that planning problem is critical. So let's solve (7a) plus c equals negative 5a. And let's solve it for a. Let's solve it for a. Just like the last problem, let's set up a planning problem. Now, where do I put numbers in? I put numbers in for the things that I don't want to be there. I want an A, so I leave the 7a, but I don't want the C. That's my extra letter, so we make up a number. How about 9? Equals negative 5a. I want to leave that A there because that's what I'm solving for. All I did was make up a number for C. Now, I'm over here on my planning or my hack problem. What would I do first on my planning problem? You wouldn't minus 9 because you need to get your A terms together.
Add 5a.
I think it'd be better to subtract 7a. Don't you? That way all of my A terms are on one side and my numbers are on the other. Now I have 9 equals negative 12a. Right? I think that makes more sense than adding 5a. All right, if I was going to solve that thing for A, I need to get my A terms together. So we're going to do the same thing on my real problem. I'm going to subtract 7a. So on this side, I have C equals negative 12a. On my pretend problem, back over here, what would I do to finish it? Divide both sides by negative 12. So guess what we're going to do on our real problem? We're going to divide both sides by negative 12. The negative 12's cancel, and I have that A equals C over negative 12. All right? This next one I want you to try on your own. If you're watching the YouTube video, I want you to pause the video and try it on your own. Let's solve k minus 2 over 5 equals 11m. Let's solve it 4k. So pause the video if you're watching this and try it on your own, then I'll go over it. Okay, I told you to set up a planning or a pretend problem. So if you come over to the side and pick a letter, or I'm sorry, a number for m, like 2, then you've got 11 times 2. So this is k minus 2 over 5 equals 22. And now we say, how do I solve that? Wouldn't I multiply both sides by 5 first? All right. So over here, I would multiply both sides by 5 first, so that my 5's cancel. We're going to do the same thing on this problem. I'm going to multiply both sides by 5 first. So the 5's cancel. And now I have k minus 2 equals 55m. And then if I come back over to my planning problem, I have k minus 2 equals 110. Wouldn't I add 2 to both sides next? I would add 2 to finish that up. So on my real problem, I would also add 2. So I have k equals 55m plus 2. That's your answer. Remember, this over here shows me how to do this. All right, use the examples that I've shown you. One more. Last problem. Let's solve this one for C. X equals B minus C D. And when you look at this one, you might think, oh no, there's a whole bunch of letters. I think it actually makes it a little bit easier, because I can just pick another number for all the letters except for C. So let's come over to our planning problem. I'm going to pick a number for every letter except C. How about 5 equals 9 minus C times 4. I just put in a number for all of them. Just made one up. And so now I've got 5 equals 9 minus 4C. So if I'm solving my planning problem over here, what would I do first? I would subtract 9. So what letter in the original problem got replaced with the 9? Wasn't it B? So I'm going to subtract B from both sides. I'm going to do the same thing. So on my real problem, the B's go away, and I have X minus B equals negative CD. So let's go back to our planning problem and see what we've got. We have negative 4 equals negative 4C. So what would I do on my planning problem to finish solving it? We would divide both sides by negative 4. So on my real problem, what letter was replaced with a 4? D. So we're going to divide both sides by D, but do you see this negative out here? Let's go ahead and divide both sides by negative D to get rid of it. And we have accomplished what we need to accomplish. The D's go away, including this negative. It's gone. And I have C equals this thing over here. X minus B over negative d. Your answers are going to be uglier with these problems. And we are going to stop there for today.